Hello everybody. How you doing today? Welcome back to the news with Lloyd here on English TV Live. Hope you are doing very well today, wherever you're watching from in the world. Let me know in the comments where you are watching from. Today's story is going to be, well, definitely a more pleasant story than last week. We're going to be talking about games, computer games, or consoles to be precise. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5, which has just been announced a few days ago. We're going to be taking a look at that exciting news. Well, exciting if you enjoy playing games. I don't play these days, but I am still excited about this, and maybe when Christmas comes, I might be tempted into getting one. I thought that it would be good to show you a video talking about the announcement of the PS5. I think we could probably learn some vocabulary as well in this video. So why don't we take a look? Let's see what this console looks like, because that was the big story this week. People were wondering, what is the PS5 going to look like? Maybe you weren't wondering that, but many people were. And let's take a look, shall we? So it was announced this week, the PlayStation 5, the next generation of gaming. Let's take a look.
After months of hype and feverish online speculation, the most popular video games console in the world, the PlayStation 4, is about to be replaced with, you guessed it, the PlayStation 5.
There's a lot of hype around this PlayStation event because PlayStation's next generation console is still shrouded in mystery. It is the follow-up to one of the biggest selling consoles of all time, and yet it's coming out at the end of this year and we still don't know what it looks like or what games we're going to be able to play on it.
So she said this this interview was done just before the announcement. So yeah, she said that it's shrouded in mystery. Shrouded in mystery. So people have been wondering for quite a while, people who are interested in games, what is this PlayStation going to look like? What games is it going to have? What are the games going to look like? What is the performance going to be like? The graphics and all these things. But people didn't know. So it's been shrouded in mystery, covered in mystery. So you can use this in quite a few different situations when it's very mysterious. You don't know what's going on. Maybe the crime was shrouded in mystery. We don't know who the killer was, or something like that. Shrouded in mystery. So it's a really good expression. And I was reading several articles about this PlayStation 5, and many articles actually use this expression, shrouded in mystery, because people have been wondering for the last few years about this PlayStation.
Sony's managed to sell 104 million PlayStation 4s, making it the second best-selling console of all time, beaten only by its older sibling, the PlayStation 2, with 150 million consoles shifted. So this next machine has big shoes to fill, but right now gaming is having something of a moment. As a result of the
Okay, so it said that the new PlayStation has big shoes to fill. So, of course, since it's the PlayStation 5, the previous one was the PlayStation 4. I had a PlayStation 4, by the way. I sold it last year because I wasn't using it. I miss it. But it was the second most successful games console of all time. It sold 150 million consoles, I think he said. And the most popular, most successful of all time was the PlayStation 2. Let us know in the comments if you had a PlayStation 2. I have some good memories of that one as well. So they said that this new console has big shoes to fill. So if you are replacing somebody or something, and the previous one was very successful, you have big shoes to fill. So imagine there was a new CEO at a company, and the previous CEO has retired, has resigned, has quit. But that previous CEO, he or she was really, really successful, and now you're the new CEO, and you have to try and be successful as well. You have big, big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. And likewise, in this case, the PlayStation 5, the new console, has big shoes to fill to be as successful as the previous ones, PlayStation 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, etc.
19 pandemic and lockdown, millions of people have found themselves at home looking for ways to entertain
Let's just rewind that to start that off. So, of course, this is not the best time to release a console because, well, as we know now with the coronavirus, the lockdown, economic uncertainty. Anyway, we're going to take a look at that now.
But right now, gaming is having something of a moment. As a result,
by the way, so he said it's gaming is having something of a moment, right? So to have a moment means right now something is very popular. You could be having a moment. It's quite a recent kind of new expression, I would say, to be having a moment. Something is very popular. So gaming at the moment is having a moment, is really popular, and we're going to see why in a second.
of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown, millions of people have found themselves at home looking for ways to entertain themselves. Playing video games is one of those ways. Gaming has proved so popular that there's been a 48% increase in console sales. Today's reveal for the PlayStation 5 differs from the usual noisy affair attended by thousands of members of the press, becoming an online-only event, finally allowing us to see the actual PS5 itself. A curvy console that will come in two flavours, a standard machine with an Ultra HD Blu-ray drive and a digital edition which lacks the drive. Of course, Sony showcased fan-favourite games like Spider-Man, this time around an expansion on the 2018 title, now starring Miles Morales. And we got a taste of racing game Gran Turismo 7, which now features a story mode. And more third-person adventuring with mechanised animals in a far future USA, in a new Horizon title, Forbidden West. The latest Ratchet & Clank game showed off the speed of the PS5 solid-state drive, virtually eliminating load times, creating vast play areas that do away with programming tricks like ledges and narrow gaps the player must squeeze through. These are clever ways of allowing the console to load the next area without the player noticing. The SSD is so fast here it does away with this programming sleight of hand.
All right. So, interesting expression there. To do away with something. To do away with something means to get rid of a habit, a routine, a way of doing things. So you don't. It's not a physical thing. You don't get rid of. I mean, you get rid of a physical thing. But if you do away with something, it's a habit or a way of doing things that you don't do anymore. So I know as someone who used to play PlayStation and different consoles in the past, one of the things that I'm sure many of you who have played games can relate to is when you're playing the game, often there is a lot of loading time. Let's say you want to start playing the game. Okay, I want to start playing. I remember especially PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, you load the game and you have to wait. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to load the game. And this can be quite annoying, right? You really want to play and you have to wait. And even with the recent consoles, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox, etc., it's the same story. You have to wait. But apparently with the PlayStation 5, because of the hardware, it has a SSD, solid state hard drive. I'm not the most, I'm not the best person when it comes to talking about this stuff, but apparently this means that the new PlayStation you won't have to wait for loading. So it will be immediate. You start the game and boom, it starts, right? You don't have to wait for the loading. So it will do away with this long loading time. Maybe you can give some more examples in the comments of doing away with things. You could do away with, let's see, what else could you do away with? Maybe many countries, I mean, not the nicest topic, but many countries did away with slavery a few hundred years ago, right? For example, so to get rid of something. You could also do away with maybe your bad habits. Like I want to do away with my bad eating habits. Do away. do away with something. I'm sure you can think of more useful examples in the comments, but yeah, do away with. And let us know which games look appealing to you, by the way.
But surely there's more to this next generation than shinier visuals and load times.
I think this next generation isn't just about better graphics, it's actually about your experience as a gamer. They're trying to remove some of the barriers between the point where you want to play a game and the point where you're actually playing that game. Cutting down on loading times, cutting down on the time it takes for the game to download if you're going to do it digitally, time it takes for the updates to install. All of that is being torn away so you have access to a game within seconds of wanting to play it.
The console wars of old are set to continue, as the rival Xbox Series X machine is also scheduled to launch this year too. Both machines will be backwards compatible, being able to play games designed for the previous generation's hardware, the Xbox One and PS4. But Sony and Microsoft have so far remained tight-lipped about how much either of these consoles will cost, a factor which will become increasingly important in an uncertain economic environment. And while gaming is popular right now, some people might choose to stick with the console they already have. Consumers will be able to make up their own minds which machine they prefer when both consoles arrive towards the end of this year.
All right, so there we go. Exciting stuff. And as you can see, the PlayStation 5 is not the only new console that is coming out this year. We can call this a console, by the way. So a console is like a computer game machine, right? Not just a PC console. So you can see on the right here we have the Xbox. The name of the new Xbox is Xbox Series X. Series X. The previous one is the Xbox One, the one that's out at the moment, which was the competitor for the PlayStation 4. I don't know, I think the naming is much simpler for PlayStation, like PlayStation 1, 2, 3. Xbox has all these funny names, but these are the direct competitors, right? So people are very curious to see which one is going to be better, which one's going to be more expensive, which one's going to be faster, which one's going to, there's a lot of rivalry between these two. Of course, Microsoft is Xbox, Sony is PlayStation, and they've had rivalry for years and years. I remember when I was a child, it was all about Nintendo and Sega, right? Nintendo against Sega. And now these days, Microsoft against Sony. And Sony has been winning recently. So we'll see what happens this time. And okay, yes, one more expression that came up in this video is that Sony and Microsoft are both being tight-lipped. They're both tight-lipped about the price. So of course, this all looks great, looks nice, new technology, new games, exciting, beautiful, etc. But people are thinking, okay, that's great, but how much is it going to cost? What's the price? That's what everybody's asking at the moment, including me. And they have been tight-lipped, which means they are not saying anything about it. So if you're tight-lipped about something, that means you're keeping quiet. Remaining tight-lipped, keeping tight-lipped. One of the theories about this is that as soon as one of these guys, Microsoft or Sony, as soon as one of them announces the price, then the other one will announce a cheaper price, right? So it's almost like they're in a game of chicken, you can say, or like a poker game, like who's going to announce the price first. But probably the rumors are it will probably be around $500 or $600. With the PlayStation, actually, there's two different versions. So the one you can see here, obviously on the left is the PlayStation, the right is the Xbox Series X. So PlayStation has two versions. One is the disc version. So you can see on the right there, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a little slit, you can call it, so where you put in the discs, the physical discs. And there's another one which people expect will be cheaper, which is a digital only version, which doesn't have the disc drive, and you can download the games directly. So I would probably get that one, I guess. Maybe save a few bucks if I did get the PlayStation. All right.